The vast emptiness of space stretched before Jay Park's courier ship, a seemingly endless canvas of darkness punctuated by distant starlight. His hands moved with practiced precision across the ship's control panel, monitoring the standard cargo route that had become as familiar to him as breathing. The Solar Hawk hummed softly, its systems running smoothly, when a subtle vibration caught Jay's attention. Most pilots would have dismissed it as a minor sensor glitch, but Jay had learned to trust his instincts during years of interstellar travel. Something felt different. He adjusted the ship's long-range scanners, narrowing the focus on a cluster of debris floating silently against the black backdrop. Most space junk was just that, worthless fragments of forgotten missions or abandoned technology. But something about this collection of floating wreckage seemed unusual. A faint electronic pulse flickered at the edge of the scanner's range. Most pilots would have continued their preset course, prioritizing their delivery schedules and cargo contracts. But Jay was not most pilots. He maneuvered the Solar Hawk closer, reducing speed and activating the ship's advanced scanning systems. The debris field began to take shape, fragments of what appeared to be an alien vessel, badly damaged and seemingly abandoned. Scorch marks suggested multiple weapon impacts, and the ship's structural integrity was critically compromised. Most intriguing was a series of weak life signs barely registering on the most sensitive scanners. They were so faint that they could have been dismissed as equipment malfunction. But Jay knew better. He remembered the unwritten code of space travelers. No one gets left behind. It was a principle that transcended species, bureaucracy, or commercial interests. Life was precious, especially in the unforgiving vacuum of space. The ship's computer began generating detailed scans. The life signs were coming from a heavily shielded section of the damaged vessel, protected by multiple layers of advanced technological barriers. Whatever or whoever was inside had been intentionally hidden and protected. Jay's heart raced. This was no ordinary discovery. The vessel's design was unlike anything in the standard Galactic database. Its technology seemed both primitive and incredibly advanced, a contradiction that only deepened the mystery. Carefully, he positioned the Solar Hawk to create a stable approach vector. The damaged ship showed no active defense systems, no communication signals, nothing to indicate it was anything more than a floating tomb. But those life signs told a different story. Years of courier work had taught Jay to be cautious. He activated multiple safety protocols, sealed his environmental suit, and prepared the ship's emergency extraction equipment. Whatever he was about to encounter could be dangerous, potentially even deadly. The external cameras revealed more details. The alien vessel was small, designed for minimal crew, perhaps a specialized research or exploration mission. Multiple system failures suggested a catastrophic event had occurred, yet something, or someone, had survived. As the Solar Hawk's extraction arm extended toward the damaged vessel, Jay felt a mix of excitement and apprehension. This was more than a routine rescue. This was a moment that could change everything, for him and potentially for multiple species. The extraction arm's sensors began penetrating the vessel's outer hull. Complex algorithms worked to identify the safest entry points, avoiding potential structural weaknesses. Each movement was calculated, precise, driven by both technological sophistication and human intuition. Something moved inside the damaged ship. A slight movement, almost imperceptible. But Jay saw it. Whatever was inside was alive. And it was, aware of the approaching rescue attempt. His fingers hovered over the control panel, ready to abort the mission at the slightest sign of threat. But something told him this was different. This was important. This was a moment that would define not just his career, but potentially his entire understanding of life in the universe. The extraction sequence began, slow and methodical. Metal and composite materials shifted, creating a careful pathway into the heart of the mysterious vessel. Jay held his breath, watching every digital readout, every microscopic change in the surrounding environment. Little did he know, the next few moments would change everything. The extraction arm moved with mechanical precision, carefully separating the protected section from the damaged alien vessel. Jay's hands trembled slightly, a rare moment of vulnerability for the seasoned space courier. The ship's interior lights shifted to a soft blue, designed to minimize potential stress for unknown life forms. As the sealed container entered the Solar Hawk's medical bay, the initial scans confirmed what seemed impossible. 3 small beings, clearly not human, were alive. They were tiny, no larger than human infants with skin that seemed to shimmer between translucent silver and pale blue depending on the light. The medical pod automatically activated, creating a controlled environment. Jay watched in amazement as delicate life support systems began responding to the aliens' unique biological signatures. Their breathing was different, more of a rhythmic pulse than the steady inhale and exhale of human lungs. Each of the 3 beings had distinctive markings. The smallest appeared most fragile, with thin membrane-like coverings that seemed to change color slightly with each passing moment. The other 2 looked slightly more developed, their bodies showing hints of muscular definition beneath their unusual skin. Jay knew he had mere moments to stabilize them. Years of emergency medical training kicked in, though nothing in his extensive experience had prepared him for this moment. These were not just survivors. They were something entirely unknown. The ship's computer began analyzing their biological composition. Preliminary data suggested they were not just from a different planet, but potentially from an entirely different evolutionary path. Their cellular structure showed remarkable adaptability, with complex molecular patterns that defied standard classification. One of the beings, the smallest, began to move. Its large almond-shaped eyes opened, revealing irises that seemed to contain entire galaxies. There was intelligence there, understanding, something that went beyond simple animal survival. Jay spoke softly, knowing they likely couldn't understand him. "You're safe now," he whispered, his voice a mixture of wonder and protective instinct. The medical systems worked overtime. Specialized nutrient solutions were prepared, tailored to match the complex metabolic needs detected by the scanners. Micro-adjustments happened continuously. Temperature, atmospheric composition, subtle electromagnetic frequencies. Hours passed. The 3 alien infants stabilized. Their breathing became more regular, their body temperatures normalized. Jay realized he hadn't moved from the medical bay's observation window for nearly 12 standard hours. He began reviewing the limited data recovered from the destroyed vessel. Fragments of communication logs, partial system records, hints of a massive conflict. Whatever happened to their ship had been sudden and catastrophic. These 3 were survivors of something far larger and more complex than a simple accident. The smallest being, which Jay had mentally named Pip, seemed to track his movements. Its eyes followed him with an awareness that seemed impossible for something so young. There was intelligence there, a connection that transcended species. As the ship's automated systems continued their careful monitoring, Jay made a decision. These beings would not become test subjects. They would not be reduced to scientific specimens or diplomatic bargaining chips. They were alive. They were survivors. He thought about the vast, cold emptiness of space, about how close these 3 had come to becoming just another piece of floating debris, about the incredible chain of coincidences that had brought them together. The medical pod's soft blue light continued to pulse. Pip blinked. The other 2 aliens, slightly larger and more developed, shifted slightly, their bodies showing signs of growing strength. Jay Park, a simple space courier who had never wanted to be a hero, realized his life had just changed forever. These 3 small beings would become something more than passengers. They would become his responsibility, his purpose. Outside the ship's windows, space continued its silent, endless journey. Stars moved, galaxies spun, and inside the Solar Hawk, 3 alien infants breathed, survived, and began a journey nobody could have predicted. The first contact had happened, and nothing would ever be the same. Weeks passed, and the Solar Hawk transformed into an unlikely nursery. Jay's once organized cargo ship now looked like a chaotic mix of medical equipment, makeshift baby supplies, and alien technology. The 3 infants, Pip, Rawl, and Kira, grew stronger each day, defying every expectation. Pip remained the smallest but showed the most curiosity. Its ability to change skin color fascinated Jay, who discovered the change correlated with emotional states. When calm, Pip would shimmer a soft silver. When excited, brilliant blue patterns would dance across its translucent skin. Rawl was different, more robust, with a hint of muscular development that suggested advanced genetic engineering. The middle child seemed to possess an unusual ability to communicate through subtle electromagnetic pulses. Jay first noticed this when ship systems would occasionally flicker when Rawl was particularly active. Kira, the largest of the three, showed signs of heightened sensory perception. During routine navigation, Jay discovered the infant could somehow sense potential navigation challenges moments before they became visible on the ship's scanners. The recovered data fragments told a fractured story. Pieces of communication logs suggested a massive conflict that had destroyed the aliens' homeworld. Words like final solution and last hope appeared repeatedly in the damaged records. These three were more than just survivors. They were potentially the last of their entire species. Jay's daily routine changed completely. Cargo deliveries became secondary to caring for the three infants. He learned to prepare specialized nutritional solutions, developed unique communication techniques, and adapted the ship's entire life support system to their specific needs. The ship's computer struggled to categorize them. Their biological makeup was unlike anything in the known databases. They seemed to absorb information differently, learning through touch, electromagnetic interactions, and some form of visual communication that went beyond traditional understanding. During long stretches between delivery routes, Jay would sit and watch them. Pip would change colors, creating complex patterns that seemed almost like a language. Rawl would send out subtle electromagnetic pulses that somehow made the ship's systems hum in response. Kira would watch everything with an intensity that suggested deep intelligence. One particular incident changed everything. During a routine navigation through an asteroid field, Jay noticed Kira becoming unusually agitated. Moments later, the ship's standard collision avoidance systems failed, but Kira's early warning allowed Jay to manually adjust their course, avoiding what would have been a catastrophic impact. The aliens were developing, growing, becoming something more than Jay could have ever imagined. He began collecting information, creating a personal log that documented their development. Each day brought new discoveries. Their ability to adapt was remarkable. They seemed to learn at an exponential rate, absorbing information from the ship's systems, from Jay's interactions, from the very environment around them. The cargo holds became learning spaces. Jay would bring various objects, watching how the three infants explored and understood them. Simple tools became complex learning experiences. A standard communication device would be dismantled and reassembled in ways that defied current technological understanding. Nights were the most challenging. The infants didn't sleep like humans. Instead, they would enter strange meditative states, their skin pulsing with soft light, their breathing synchronized in a way that seemed almost musical. Jay knew the risks. Carrying these aliens meant potential legal challenges. Interstellar. Authorities would want to study them, perhaps even claim them as scientific specimens. But something deep inside him refused to let that happen. They were alive. They were survivors. They were in some strange way becoming his family. As the Solar Hawk continued its journey through the vast emptiness of space, Jay looked at the three alien infants. Pip changed colors. Rawl sent out a soft electromagnetic pulse. Kira watched, with those impossibly intelligent eyes. The first official communication came 3 months after Jay's discovery. A high-priority transmission from the Interstellar Diplomatic Corps broke through the Solar Hawk's communication systems, demanding a full report and immediate coordinates. Jay knew this moment would come, but nothing could have prepared him for the complexity of the situation. The holographic display flickered to life, revealing a stern-faced official with cold, calculating eyes. Identification and species classification required immediately, the official demanded. His voice carried the weight of bureaucratic authority. Jay stood his ground. Behind him, Pip, Raul, and Kira watched silently. Their ability to sense tension was becoming increasingly apparent. Raul's skin would pulse with slight electromagnetic disturbances when conflict arose. The diplomatic negotiations became a daily battle. Multiple agencies wanted access. Scientific research teams proposed extensive studies. Government departments saw potential strategic advantages. Each group viewed the alien infants as something to be examined, controlled, or weaponized. One particularly heated transmission came from the Xenobiological Research Center. They offered a substantial financial incentive for temporary custody of the 3 infants. The proposal read like a clinical experiment protocol, reducing living beings to nothing more than research subjects. Jay remembered the fragmented logs from the destroyed alien ship. Words about final hope and preservation echoed in his mind. These were not specimens. They were survivors. His courier network became an unexpected ally. Other space travelers shared encrypted messages, offering support and potential safe routes. They understood the unwritten code of space: protect life, especially when it's vulnerable. The diplomatic pressure intensified. Official communications became more aggressive. Threats of legal action, potential cargo ship impoundment, and personal prosecution were leveled against Jay. Each message tried to break his resolve. But something had changed in Jay. The 3 alien infants had become more than a rescue mission. They were now his responsibility, his family. Kira's unusual sensory abilities became crucial. During particularly tense communications, the infant would provide subtle warnings: a slight change in skin tone, a barely perceptible electromagnetic pulse, signals that helped Jay navigate the complex diplomatic minefield. The Interstellar Diplomatic Corps deployed multiple representatives. Each tried different approaches: legal pressure, financial incentives, subtle threats. Jay remained calm, using his years of courier experience to deflect and delay. One unexpected ally emerged from the chaos. A senior xenobiologist named Dr. Elena Rodriguez contacted Jay privately. Her message was different from the others. She spoke of protection, of understanding, of preserving something unique. "These are not just specimens," her encrypted message read. "They are potentially the last of an entire civilization. They need protection, not examination." Weeks of negotiations followed. Each communication became a careful dance of information and misdirection. Jay learned to provide just enough information to satisfy official curiosity, while protecting the 3 infants. Pip's ability to change skin color became a subtle communication tool. During tense moments, the infant would display complex color, patterns that seemed to calm the ship's systems. Raul's electromagnetic pulses would subtly interfere with tracking signals. The solar system became a complex game of cat and mouse. The Solar Hawk changed routes frequently, using complex navigation protocols that made standard tracking impossible. Jay's reputation as a reliable courier worked both for and against him. Some saw him as a hero. Others considered him a potential threat to interstellar protocols. As another official transmission ended, Jay looked at the 3 alien infants. Pip shifted to a calm silver color. Raul sent out a soft, reassuring pulse. Kira watched with those impossibly intelligent eyes. "We'll be okay," Jay whispered, more to himself than to them. The diplomatic challenges were far from over, but for now they were safe. They were together. And that was enough. The planet New Eden glowed softly in the ship's view screen. Terraformed decades ago, it represented humanity's most advanced settlement dedicated to xenobiological research and preservation. Jay knew this was their best chance. Dr. Elena Rodriguez waited at the primary research complex. Her team had prepared a specialized facility that was more sanctuary than laboratory. Years of experience with rare and endangered species had taught her the importance of protection over examination. Pip, Raul, and Kira sensed the change. Their skin patterns became more complex, shifting in synchronized waves of silver and blue. They understood something significant was happening. "They're not test subjects," Jay told Dr. Rodriguez firmly as they walked through the complex. They're survivors. They need protection. The facility was unlike any research center Jay had seen. Multiple environmental zones replicated different potential planetary conditions. Soft lighting mimicked various atmospheric conditions. Advanced life support systems stood ready to adapt to the aliens' unique biological needs. Kira showed particular interest in the facility's complex technological systems. The infant's eyes tracked multiple information streams simultaneously, processing data at a rate that would challenge most advanced computers. Dr. Rodriguez watched in amazement. "Remarkable," she whispered. "They're not just surviving. They're adapting." Rawl began sending out subtle electromagnetic pulses interacting with the facility's computer systems. Screens flickered, displaying complex data patterns that seemed to emerge from nowhere. The research team exchanged stunned looks. Pip remained the most emotionally responsive. Its skin would change colors based on the emotional atmosphere, creating a living, breathing emotional landscape that fascinated the researchers. A special trust was established. Jay ensured legal protections that would prevent the aliens from becoming mere research subjects. Substantial financial resources were allocated for their long-term care and potential development. Dr. Rodriguez explained the facility's approach. "We protect, we observe, we learn, but we do not control." The 3 aliens would have specialized caretakers, advanced educational programs, and complete freedom to develop. The facility was designed to be a home, not a prison. As the transfer process completed, Jay felt a mix of emotions. These beings had become more than a rescue mission. They had become part of his life, part of his story. Rawl reached out, sending a soft electromagnetic pulse that seemed to say thank you in a language beyond words. Kira's eyes met Jay's, showing an understanding that transcended species. Pip shifted to a warm, golden color, a signal of comfort and connection. "They'll be safe here," Dr. Rodriguez assured Jay. But he already knew. The research team prepared extensive documentation, genetic analysis, preliminary communication studies, environmental adaptation reports. Each document told a story of something extraordinary. These were not just survivors of a lost civilization. They were potentially the beginning of something entirely new. Jay's communication network ensured continued monitoring. Other space travelers would help maintain a protective network watching over these unique beings. An unofficial but deeply committed guardianship had been established. As he prepared to leave, Jay looked back one more time. Pip, Rawl, and Kira watched from a specially designed observation area. Their skin patterns synchronized. A farewell, a promise, a new beginning. The Solar Hawk waited outside, ready for its next journey. But something had changed. Jay was no longer just a courier. He was a guardian, a protector of life's most unexpected miracles. New Eden's soft lights reflected off the facility's windows. Inside, 3 alien infants began their journey of discovery. Outside, a universe of infinite possibilities waited. The story was far from over. In many ways, it was just beginning.